Hi everyone, welcome to Click to Learn More, the show that sounds like clickbait,
but is actually two dorks.
I'm Dorm.
I'm Liddy.
Hi Liddy.
Hi Dorm.
It's been a while.
It's been 2 weeks.
Been a while. We
went two different ways.
I went Stained.
Ooh, yeah.
This is a Stained podcast now.
This is a Stained fan cast. What are the songs of Stained that you know?
That one?
That's our first episode. Thank you for tuning in.
We did it! Hi, bye. That was Stained. No, so we're gonna talk about... This is my episode, by the way.
It is,
I'm teaching you things.
You are teaching me things.
Specifically how to Dougie.
Yeah, every single time that we imbibe. I am
every time we imbibe.
Every time
we imbibe.
Every time we imbibe, we are taught how to Dougie.
Okay, so today we're not going to be talking about Dougie.
Mm-mm.
We're going to be talking about hand signs.
Hand signs?
Yes.
Like
This is great for the audio listeners.
That's hand jive.
She's doing the hand jive.
That's the hand jive.
Not the hand...
Get shorty, get it? It's
that was the hand jive.
That was the hand jive. I was doing the hand jive.
You did the hand jive.
Born the hand jive, baby.
So we're going to be talking about hand signs. Hand signals. I don't really know the right way to talk about this.
Okay.
Basically, sort of common knowledge signage of the hand.
Are we speaking like whatever
and
loser? Like the L and the W?
Okay, I've never seen the W for whatever.
You've never seen whatever like
no.
this? Did you see Clueless?
For those of... Yeah, I love Clueless.
Whatever.
Did they do that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's their whole thing. That's their whole shtick.
I don't remember the hand signal though. I've
and
seen
then
Clueless.
The loser thing.
Okay, yeah. I know loser. But I've seen Clueless like 20 times. I've never...
Whatever.
No.
It's the mean girl, Amber. I think she does it. Whatever.
So...
Share.
Sort of. For those of you who didn't know and you're listening to the audio, Lidi did 2 finger guns together to make a W. And is now shooting finger gun. This is
here's the thing.
Welcome to me doing the basketball commentary for Lidi's motions.
The motions that I do that you can't see because it's of the audio medium portion of the podcast.
Yes.
Will just be a fun Easter egg for the people who watch it on
or just
on
kind of a paint by numbers situation.
Or will just be a dead air while
where people imagine whatever hand gesture they want you doing.
Oh, I don't like that.
Get rough.
I don't like that.
It could get bristly.
That went in a way that makes me... It's the internet. That made me uncomfortable.
So the first one we're going to talk about is this.
Okay.
What would you call this?
So this is a trick question.
Okay.
Can I move forward with what I know?
Yeah.
It is peace or victory.
Yes.
I know that.
So I would refer to it mostly as the peace sign.
I would say the peace sign.
It is your index finger and your middle finger extended upward, facing forward.
Yes.
And the other 3...
The other way is British and is up yours.
Yes.
Essentially.
Wow, you knew all of this already.
I know.
You're ruining my whole podcast.
I'm sorry. So the reason I only know that is because of Buffy.
Ah.
That's the reason I know that one. And because I accidentally did it once in a photo with my friends, and I had a friend overseas who was like, that's a bad... That you're too young to do this.
That's interesting. So I'm curious, because there are some people who... We know those in the podcast who are British. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that still holds true.
Oh, if that's like still a thing.
Because it seems outdated, right? It seems like the fig. I don't know if you know about the fig. You know about the fig?
No.
So very quickly, this is not one of my ones, but the fig is your thumb. You're making a fist, and your thumb goes between, I believe, your middle and ring finger.
Okay.
And that was like the Renaissance Italian way of flipping people off.
Is that kind of like thumbing your nose at
Yes,
people
that's actually where it came from. So it's that same sort of thumbing of someone, right? Like that's like an up yours visually, right?
Okay, got it.
So that I think is actually in the Sistine Chapel. Someone's doing the fig.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like old art that has the fig, and I guess it's just like a fig tree, like it looks like a fig.
Fig fruit, maybe.
Or that's what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Interesting.
So the 2 fingers are 2 signs with 2 very different meanings, which you've already kind of spoiled.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. So making the V sign with the back of the hand has been a profane gesture in England for more than a century. As you said, it means up yours. But during World War II, the gesture and the meaning got flipped around. Get it? Because they both got flipped around. The change started with a Belgian politician named, I'm going to butcher this, Victor de Lavalley.
Okay. He sounds lovely.
Who fled to England after the Nazis occupied Belgium.
Okay.
While living in exile, de Lavalley directed radio broadcasts for the BBC, so he was doing a radio show, and suggests that listeners in Europe, in occupied Europe, used the letter V as a symbol of resistance. It actually has a double meaning, so everyone calls it the victory sign, which is what I knew it as too. But actually, in French, V stands for victor, or victory.
Okay.
But in Dutch, it stands for vrijheid, which is freedom.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
So the V sort of had a double as victory and freedom. De Lavallee hoped that seeing the V all across the continent would demoralize the Nazis. Then the British press ran with the idea, which I thought was interesting because they were the ones who knew the backwards peace
version
sign as so evil. They ran with the idea, and soon it became popular for people in all of Allied Europe to form the letter V with their fingers, palms turned out. In time, the V became a general sign of encouragement and then later peace. So at first it was more a supportive thing, but then people sort of co-opted it into
resistance.
They wanted resistance, and then they wanted peace. And of course it took a hold in like Woodstock era and things like that, and it just sort of shifted. But it really all started with World War II.
That's really cool.
This is also pretty interesting. If the palm of the hand faces the signer, so not outward but inward, the sign can mean an insulting gesture in Australia, the Republic of Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United Kingdom.
Okay.
It's the number 2 in sign language. Makes sense. It is sometimes made using both hands with upraised arms, as United States President Dwight Eisenhower did for victory. But then Richard Nixon did it, resigning.
I'm not a crook.
Peace or friend, as a meaning of this, was greatly popularized by counterculture, obviously. The commonality with the symbols used from the 1940s was its meaning the end of war. So people in World War II wanted the war to end. They meant it as resistance. Counterculture co-opted it, saying we should stop the war again. This time, of course, with Vietnam and then later the Korean War. So those two things were pulled in there. So the
counterculture went like, we want peace. Everybody else wanted resistance.
Yes. So the idea of the peace sign meaning the end of war is what bridges those gaps.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that it started as like a sort of like an FU to the Nazis, and then it became sort of a love and hope kind of symbol.
Kind of like a rallying cry without having to say anything. Yeah. Kind of like a supportive, like, thumbs up, but, instead it's...
And now you see the peace sign literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I know that middle school girls, because my little sister is one, love to just
toss it up in front of their
eyes.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting to see where that specifically has come from. Now, probably my favorite entry in this list is the middle finger.
Okay.
The middle finger is fascinating.
Ready.
This is one of my favorite parts about this. The Wikipedia page for the middle finger is just the finger.
It's just called the finger?
Yes, not the middle finger, not...
So, like, in some countries, a thumbs up, like, for us, a thumbs up is good. Like, great job. But in other countries, it's an like insult.
Up your bum.
Yeah, it's an insult. And so, like, as a kid, we would always be like this and then be like, read between the lines.
Right, yeah. Yeah, holding up your 3 fingers,
because you couldn't flip people off because you were 7. So, but this was in the 1200s, so.
That's true.
When I was a child.
1200s, maybe the least interesting century you could have picked.
Tell me about it.
It was hell to live.
I lived it. It was terrible. People dropping like flies everywhere. It was awful.
I heard driving like flies. I was like...
Listen, I don't like to put flies on blast. Not good drivers. Terrible drivers.
Aww.
Too many eyes.
Can't see over the wheel.
Can you imagine if they had glasses?
Too many eyes. Wait, too many eyes?
Too many eyes.
Too good a vision.
Too good vision. Too many things happening. Distracted.
The irony there is that they can see so much, but they can't see over the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Or they're just hurled on the steering wheel, just like screaming.
The problem is they get in the car and they can't figure out how to get out. And they just run into the window over and over again.
Like a bird in a house.
Or like a fly in a house.
Or like a fly in a car.
Or like a fly in a car. This is unrelated completely, but I got in my car yesterday and there was a wasp on the outside.
There was a wasp on my door 2 days ago.
Outside, same wasp. Just surveillance.
Hairy.
Surveillance. He was outside. I say he. It's 2018. It could have been a girl.
Yeah.
They were on the outside of my car, and I had a napkin, and I just scooted it, like, get out of here. And it turned around, and it looked at me, and I thought, I'm dead.
Bye.
Deceased.
That's Lidi.
Goodbye forever.
And
it just, like, crawled up and took off, and I saved a wasp's life. You're welcome, PETA.
You did it.
Get off my back about it. Carry on. Middle finger.
Thank you. So the middle finger, as I said on Wikipedia, known as the finger, has been around for centuries, popping up whenever someone needed an easy way to express displeasure with his fellow man. How did it start? Flipping, quote, the bird.
Oh, yeah.
Actually goes back to ancient Rome, and some people say ancient Greece. Where it was called this is Latin, digitus impudicus, or the indecent finger.
The indecent finger.
Which sounds so posh and cool compared to, like, the middle finger.
Yeah, the indecent.
Oh, no, he's thrown up the indecent finger.
So people say...
He wants war.
We must fight.
We must now duel.
Why is this your ancient Greek and Roman voice?
Caesar.
He has shown me his longest finger.
Et tu, Brute.
So
The indecent finger.
So sophisticated. So
Boy, our finances aren't going to collapse in hundreds of years.
This is going to go great. Can't wait. We weren't built in a day. So some people say flicking.
Hey, there's that man Nero. He's such a good leader.
Look, he's got his little fiddle. Oh, he's doing his thing.
Oh no, what's that candle?
This is going too far. Some people say flipping you off. Some people say flicking you off.
Yes. Flipping is the right way. I'm just going to state that now.
I always say flipping because, like, you flip it up. You flip it up, but, like, flicking implies, like, a fast motion.
Because I've heard flick the bean, too, which is gross. And I don't know what that means, but I don't like it.
You don't know what it means?
No.
Oh, we're about to have a moment now.
Oh, God.
Video and audio versions of this podcast.
I know it's vaguely sexual, but I don't know what it is.
It's when a woman is doing her thing.
She's flicking the bean?
That's what they call it.
But what? Why the bean?
Because women have this little part of their body.
Oh, I thought you meant to a boy.
No,
like,
to herself.
To
herself.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh my God, we just shared this moment where we just educated dorm streams on...
Hi.
What, quote, flicking the bean is, end quote. I never thought I'd see the day.
Me.
You and your little rabbit shirt. Oh, and a rabbit is a type of vibrator. Please carry on. I've dug myself into a hole.
Oh, no.
No.
That was problematic language. Jesus, look at that wall of sound we have created.
Look at the sound that we made that was bad.
It's going to be interesting to see what of that makes the edit and what doesn't.
It's all in it.
Oh, no.
All day or day. Can't fight it. Don't stop the signal.
I've never heard flick the bean.
Really?
I've heard it for flipping people off.
Okay, so you don't say, when you say you're flicking somebody off, that's just it. You don't say you're flicking the bean off. It's just flick.
So I had heard flick the bean and had no context for it.
Right, so that's something different.
That's
flipping somebody off and flicking somebody off are the same thing. Flicking...
Hey, is this your episode? Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I feel real dumb, though.
No.
I didn't do my research.
No, I mean, that's a good point, though, is that... Because I never knew what flicking someone off was, because I had always heard flipping, and I wondered if it was like where you're from, like if it was a, we say flipping, but we also say y'all, so...
We do say y'all.
So I don't know.
The middle finger has been around for a century. Oh, sorry, we already read that. Romans thought an extended middle finger resembled a man's reproductive organ.
Okay.
Which supposedly warded off the evil eye.
I know about the evil eye.
Do tell.
Well, like, when I was in Greece, they have the evil eye on, like, all of their, like, jewelry and paintings and all kinds of stuff. It's like that little blue eye with the white, the little dot in the middle.
Yeah.
The evil eye is, like, everywhere over there. It's like
but I thought it was interesting that it was, like, a symbol of purity. Like, this is the closest thing I get to show him a bep off.
Yeah.
So, therefore, I'm fine.
I wonder if at the time it was common for women to flip people off as well. Because you would think if it resembles a man's reproductive organ that it would be more likely for a man to do it.
Yeah. I didn't see anything about women, but then again, women were poorly unrepresented in documentation at the time.
That's fair.
So,
yeah, that's
I don't know if there would be any way to know.
I would kill for a painting on a wall of Cleopatra flipping somebody off. Can you imagine?
It'd be so cool.
So neat.
Cleopatra.
Oh, love it.
That was bad. Hence, whenever Romans were met with a malicious stare, they believed they could protect themselves from being cursed by flashing their magical hand organ.
Is that...
I wrote those words.
See, it does a body good to type it in your notes, doesn't it?
I hate to admit it, but scripting Scripting it out is really funny.
It's a good feeling. Magical hand organ.
Thank you.
Okay.
Remember, these people conquered the world.
They did. They did.
In Latin, the middle finger was digitus imputicus, meaning the shameless, indecent, or offensive finger. In the 1st century AD, Perseus, the guy from 300, had superstitious female relatives concoct a charm with the infamous finger and purifying spit. So you can do the mental gymnastics on that one, but you kind of get an idea for what he was going for there.
Yeah.
With the also they called it the digitus infamous, the infamous finger.
That's cool.
Digitus infamous is my favorite Sucker Punch game.
That's my favorite 90s emo band. Right up there with Good Charlotte.
Was Good Charlotte around the 90s?
2000s.
Okay, I was going to say, am I that?
I don't know. Old? I'm 700. It all blurs
the
together.
The 90s, the 2000s, 1890s maybe.
1890s.
I get confused between the 1890s
favorite
and
band from the 1890s.
Do you think, sidebar, this is a weird one, do you think that back in, like, 1904, you think they referred to the 1890s as the 90s? Oh. Or is that like a modern convention? That's got to be a modern convention,
I would almost imagine that would be a modern thing.
Because lifespan wouldn't be that long. I mean, it'd be like...
I don't know.
50 or 60 probably, but...
I would like to... That would be great, though, to hear somebody...
Like, I could see them referring to, like, back in 99, as in 1899. But I don't know if they would call it the 90s. I don't know if, like, the world scope was big enough then. Yeah,
I feel like the 90s and the 2000s, like...
Sure.
Because we kind of, like, go back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but they probably didn't have as many reasons to reference the past.
Right, yeah.
Then, like, we have technological advancements to the point where we could be like, it's different for them than it was in the 70s, you know, like, we have a point of reference. I wonder when that
started.
I don't know.
Because I know they called them, like, the 19-aughts, which I think is the greatest thing.
Ooh.
For the 1900s.
The aughts?
OCHTS, I think.
What?
19-aughts.
Aughts?
Or maybe it's OUGHT. But it's like, the 1900s, the 19-aughts, and then there's the 19-teens, which sounds great.
Yeah, 19-teens.
20, 30, 40, yeah.
Interesting.
But I wonder if in, like, the 20s they were like, oh, back in the aughts.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Well, they were probably too busy getting drunk and dancing. They didn't...
And being like, all this money's great!
Yeah,
nothing can happen to this!
Well, I'm gonna live forever! Like, they didn't think about that. They didn't care about any of that.
While in the Satiricon, I'm going to look up this word because I wrote it down, and because I wrote this down 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time, folks.
I have forgotten what the Satiricon was.
Satiricon?
A small, dimly lit room.
Okay.
So, I can get back to my notes here. So... While in the Satiricon, an old woman uses dust, spit, and her middle finger to mark the forehead before casting a spell. So similar to Rafiki in The Lion King, but not with blood, but with spit. And it's also the middle finger.
Interesting.
Which is interesting to draw the correlation between that and spitting at someone, which is obviously insulting.
Or disrespectful act, yeah.
So I wonder if that also informed, because that's from Persian culture, so that's completely different and not privy to Roman culture. They're actually at odds.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that from different sides of the world, we had I'm looking up the Latin again. We had the digitus imputicus. Then we also had the digitus infamous.
Infamous, yeah.
And they were basically the same thing.
Yeah. And so these developed kind of like on their own?
Yeah, almost isolated from one another. At the same time? Yeah.
Interesting. So they developed in the same way without crossing paths?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they crossed paths militaristically, but I can't imagine that. Although that would be great.
That would be great.
If they were like, hey, no, I don't like that he stuck up his finger to me.
Yeah, I feel insulted that he stuck up that middle finger to me that looks like a man's reproductive organ.
That looks like my BEP, and I'm not happy about it.
That looks like my human...
That's how I feel about that.
Human BEP, and I'm upset. And I'm going to take this back to my city.
My real human BEP.
My real adult human BEP. And I'm going to take it back to the city, and I'm going to do it.
I don't like the word that you use the word adult.
Would you rather I use child?
No, the insinuation being that there's another BEP.
What? Oh, no. His adult human BEP that is attached to his body.
Instead of his alien BEP.
His child alien BEP that is attached to...
It's me, child alien BEP. Your favorite children's book character.
Your favorite sim.
Favorite friendly, lovely Bep. What? What is happening?
Oh my god. Your favorite 90s cartoon.
Bep. What would Bep stand for in like a...
Black Eyed Peas.
Oh my god! The Black Eyed Peas were all about penises the whole time.
I knew it.
Black Eyed Peas.
Ever since Fergie peed herself on stage that time.
Wait, what?
You didn't know this?
No.
Oh, we're going to talk about this after the podcast. She peed herself on stage once.
Ferg pee? That was bad.
Ferg pee.
Hold on, I can do better.
Teach me how to Ferg pee. Teach me how to
Oh my god. Ferg peas were my favorite 90s fad. Remember everybody had Ferg peas?
Frozen Ferg peas?
I'm still trying to think of a better Fergie pee joke.
Yeah, keep 4 hours later.
Fergapicious? No.
Oof.
That's bad. Moving on. The fist bump.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
So you know how there are high fives?
I do know how there's high fives.
There are also fist bumps.
There's also fist bumps. One of my bosses gave me a fist bump today.
Really?
Yeah, when he
I
walked
got
over.
3 high fives today.
Hey-oh. What?
Look at us.
I like that. We're hip with the kids.
With the kids.
He walked over and he did this, and I held my hand out below it because I thought he was bringing me something.
You thought he was going to drop something in your
Yeah, because
hand.
he went like this,
Like
and I was
some
just
sweet
like,
candy or something.
what have you got? What have you done?
Give me the spider.
Give me the bug, and it was just bug, and it was just like I'm fist bumping you.
So, the fist bump.
Yes.
You have this one is the one amongst all the research that I did. The one that I felt the most like, well, duh. Do you know where this comes from?
I don't know where it originated. No.
It's from pro boxing.
Oh, because when they meet, they bump gloves.
They bump gloves.
Oh.
And later, when boxing really hit its peak in the 60s and 70s, then it moved to other sports who would bump their bump fists with their teammates instead of shaking hands to preserve the chalk on their palms.
Oh, that's
like in
really
basketball
cool.
Specifically, yeah, in order not to do the LeBron James baby powder thing when you high five, they would just bump fists. But the idea of like, I thought this was way earlier. For some reason, this seems very like, all hand gestures seem a little like Spartan to me. Especially this. This seems like very like...
very aggressive.
Like 300.
I would have thought that it had something to do with like, for some reason in my brain, I had associated it with not wanting to have too much skin-to-skin contact, as in like, I'm afraid you're going to make me sick. Yeah. Like, if we just bump knuckles, we're not palm to palm.
Bumping knuckles sounds awful.
Bumping ugly knuckles. Then we don't have to worry about, like, actually, like, slapping skin together. And
why are you using so many bad?
I did all the bads.
All the bad.
All the bad stuff. That's what I always used to think, and I don't know why. And when did fist bumping become a thing? Like, when did it so in popular culture, like not just?
I would say around the 70s is what I found, because that's when it moved from boxing to basketball, and then once it's in basketball, it's in popular culture. I would say. Okay, so now it's interesting because it went from like a cool hip thing to almost ironic now.
Now it's kind of dorky,
right?
Like now it's kind of like a
really, yeah.
It's kind of like a nerdy type thing. Sometimes it's like fist bump, and especially when you see a bunch of like nerdy, almost exclusively nerdy white dudes who go in for the like handshake and then they mess it up and then they're like trying to do it and they're like, my
favorite is when someone goes in for a high five and grabs the fist.
Grabs the fist bump.
Handful of fist.
My skeleton leaves my body every time. My skeleton leaves my body. I get so stressed.
This happened to me today.
No.
Have you ever had someone go in for a handshake and then they go a little too high? Or a little too low.
Too low?
And then you're like an English lady?
When they get the fingers?
Yeah.
When they get your fingers and they're holding your fingers and you're like, I have nowhere to... And I want to just curtsy.
I'm now a puppy.
Yeah, I want to curtsy.
This is my dog hand.
And be like, lady.
Going in too high is weird too.
I've never had
because then you're shaking like your entire wrist.
I've never had a too high.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, I had a too high today.
The worst things that I run into the most with handshakes, and it's almost always with men, is they will do the floppy fish thing where they're like, I don't want to hurt you, little lady.
See, I don't know what's worse, though. That or someone doing full-on death grip.
Oh, I do a death grip.
See, I don't, like, have you ever had somebody, though, with just, like, it seems like most of my encounters have been, like, former military. And it's just like, I'm going to crush your hand now.
That's not cool.
Like, I'm fine with, like a firm handshake.
That's aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. Ooh.
So yeah, like the handshakes that are just like, I'm gonna crush your hand.
Yeah, that's too.
Just stop.
That's too aggressive.
I get it. You have a bet.
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't know.
I get it.
Like, the problem that I have, besides getting the floppy fish handshake, is when people come into the office, and I'm usually the first one at the door, or like to the door to greet people, and they'll bypass me to like get to my bosses.
The worst, isn't it?
Because I'm not important enough, so they'll bypass me. Yeah. Well, I have since. There's a podcast called Schmanners, which Travis and Teresa do. McElroy's, yes. That Bim Bam stuff. And I wrote in, like, on one of the comment threads and was like, this is what happens. And Teresa was like, stand in front of them. Like, take your handshake. And I was like, yes. So since then, I just, like, will move over in front of them. I'm like, hi. Welcome to the office. I'm Lidi, and welcome. I just stick my hand in their faces, and then they shake my hand, and then that's when I go in for like the death grip, and I'm just like smiling the whole time I look in their eyes.
I'm stealing your soul.
I'm gonna take your soul now.
So,
and then your money.
I've had about what's 14 times 3?
I don't do math.
Okay, it's 42. Good number. I've done about 42 handshakes in the past 2 days, or past 3 days, rather.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Because of my ridiculous work schedule. And
you've been a busy boy.
I've experienced a lot of handshakes. Now, I've also done the weird thing of, like, the lead of our team goes in for the handshake, but then the other team member doesn't. So do I? Because it's like, oh, God, is it just the leader? Is that what we're doing here? We're doing leaders only?
Right.
And so sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I just kind of weigh it. I also had the handshake that's like way too aggressive.
Oh God, the
like
floppy
up and
arm.
down.
No.
Yeah, just like I'm gonna move your hand as much as possible. Just stop.
What about the people that shake their hands, shake your hand for too long?
Oh yeah, and just like
they're just like, hi, it's nice to see you, and then they don't that's like the Trump when they don't
or when they pull you in.
They pull you in.
That's the weirdest thing. I don't like it.
It makes me so mad. Tell me more about fingers and hands.
That was aggressive.
I'm making this chair do squishy.
Okay, so we have 2 more.
Okay.
But the last one is the most interesting one.
Okay, exciting.
So this one is thumbs up.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which we talked about a little bit. But where do you think thumbs up comes from? Because I thought I had an idea.
Elizabethan times.
Okay, so it predates that.
What?
So I always thought, and this is what some of my research said. I'm just going to read what I wrote. You may have heard that when a Roman gladiator lost, the crowd would give a thumbs up if they wanted him spared, or a thumbs down if they wanted him killed. That's all wrong. In truth, so the movie Gladiator lied to us. Thumb pointing in any direction means one thing: kill him.
Oh.
Back then, the digit represented stabbing someone with a sword.
Oh, shoot.
If the crowd wanted a gladiator to live, they didn't flash any hand signs at all.
They would just
stay there. But thumbs down, thumbs up, whatever meant kill him.
A thumb of any kind.
Which, sidebar, totally eradicates Batista's babyface turn in the mid-2000s.
Why is that?
Because his whole thing was like, whenever like somebody would look at him like, do you want us to destroy, because he was a heel. And, like, do you want to destroy him? And he would like turn his thumb, he would be like this, and then turn his thumb down like Gladiator.
Ah.
And that was like part of his shtick. Oh. And then, so when Triple H was like, because Triple H was his buddy, when Triple H was like, hey, do this thing, and he was like, he gave him a thumbs up, and then just very slowly turned his thumb down. It was awesome. It sounds real dorky. There's a lot of things about wrestling that are real dorky, but it was very cool.
I mean, so that is part of our popular culture, though, right? That the thumbs up or thumbs down thing was a part of that time in history. So I wonder where that came from. Like, that's weird.
I think it was from the movie Gladiator.
I really think that's what started it?
Or maybe that's their research is what also informed that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a popular misconception. Why the mix-up? Centuries later, the French and the English both developed more positive thumb signs. This sentence is amazing.
Okay.
For instance, when British businessmen wanted to seal a deal, they would often stick up their thumbs, wet them, and press them together.
I've heard of this.
See, I'd never heard of that.
I have heard of this.
It's like thumb fighting thumb wrestling wet willies.
Yeah.
Is basically what they're doing. So
it's like a blood promise or a blood pact or whatever without blood. It's spit.
Just with spit.
Have you ever heard of people spitting in their palms and then shaking hands?
Yeah.
So I think it's that kind of same like seal in the deal kind of thing.
Saliva.
With saliva.
That's saliva made from seals.
No.
It's actually a saliva cover band that's only made in seal sounds.
Stop. Is that saliva?
I don't know. I did click boom. That was the first one that came to mind. What were you singing?
Am I your only desire? Am I the reason you bleed? Or am I the reason you cry? Always, always. Who sings that? Carry on. I'm gonna Google.
My Wayward Son.
To the Google.
To the Goog.
To the Googs.
Also, when the French counted on their hands, they usually started with the thumb. So the thumb came to represent something that was number one. Like, you're number one. And it's just the thumbs up. Oh, cool.
It was saliva.
Once this thumbs up became sign of a good thing, Europeans rewrote Roman history in their own image. So there you go. I had already written it, but had, again, forgotten it.
It's been 2 weeks.
Coincidentally, the Chinese also give the thumbs up when something is excellent. During World War II, Chinese civilians kept giving the thumbs up to Flying Tigers, a group of American pilots who flew the Chinese Air Force to help defend China from Japanese bombers. Flying Tiger pilots spread the gesture to the rest of the U.S. military, and from there, the thumbs up made its way from Roger Ebert to the Fawns.
So we got it from China?
So that's how it became associated with the military, I think. But yeah, so the Chinese people would be like, just throw up their thumb.
I'm
off camera.
You're doing a great job.
Because that's one of the only things you would see from the sky, I guess.
A bunch of people with their arms up in the air?
Just with a simple enough gesture that people could see it in the sky.
Interesting.
So I also thought the Flying Tigers was a great name.
Phenomenal. Great band.
So I have to pull up what is easily my favorite thing about this, and the reason I wanted to do this episode.
Okay.
Do you know where OK comes from? Both the phrase and the hand signal.
I feel like it had nefarious purposes when it first
So for those of you
about.
listening to the podcast, if you don't know the OK hand signal, it's index finger touching thumb, the rest of your 3 fingers up.
Yeah.
So
circular.
We don't know.
Oh.
No one knows for sure. There have been tons of proposed etymologies, and there are some that are more popular than others. But we don't know if the hand signal came first and was named after, because you basically make an O and a K.
An O and a K, yeah.
People don't know if the hand signal predates the wording. Most people think the wording predates the hand signal. But then the wording itself could have a bunch of different meanings. Let me get into the big old list of OK etymologies.
Okay, go.
Nah, that's good.
Get it? Like the band?
One proposed etymology. None of these are confirmed nor denied.
Okay.
So take whichever one you like the best. That's how I always do these things.
I'm going to do it.
The first one.
Okay.
The Boston abbreviation fad. The etymology that most reference works provide today is based on a survey of the world's early history in print. Series of 6 articles by Alan Walker Reed in the journal American Speech in 1963 and 1964. In it, he tracked the spread and evolution of the word in American newspapers and other written documents, and later throughout the rest of the world. He also documented controversy surrounding OK and the history of its folk etymologies, both of which are intertwined with the history of the word itself. Reed argues that, at the time of the expression's first appearance in print, a broader fad existed in the United States of comical misspellings, and of forming and employing acronyms themselves based on colloquial speech patterns. The abbreviation fad is an excerpt from the article. The abbreviation fad began in Boston in the summer of 1838. OFM, our first men, and used expressions like NG, no go, GT, gone to Texas. How often were you saying gone to Texas? They were like, GT.
It was just GT?
Yeah.
And it was like...
Gone Texas.
Gone Texas.
Yeah.
Gone to Texas.
This was far before...
Texas was popping.
Yeah.
They were like, we gotta go. Gone to Texas.
Gone
GT.
to Texas. GT.
You don't even have time to say it.
You're in that much of a hurry to get to Texas.
You're in that much of a hurry to get to Texas. You just
I gotta go down there. They're telling me there's something to remember down there, and
GG.
I'm gonna go see it.
I'm on my way. That's interesting. I like that you said GT and I thought GG. Like immediately.
GG.
Good game.
And SP, you want to take a guess for what that is? Think of the time.
Sup, pimp?
Nailed it. Everyone was called a pimp in 1838.
Mm-hmm.
Small potatoes.
Aww.
I'm like, nah, no big deal.
Like little taters.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you familiar with small potatoes?
It's not a big deal.
So I didn't know this until not that long ago. I never really heard it.
Small potatoes?
Yeah, and then it was used in the 30 for 30 about the U.S. Football League that Donald Trump bought and destroyed.
Mm.
If only...
It's just small potatoes.
Small potatoes. His argument was that it didn't really hurt his empire, so it's small potatoes.
Mm.
Many of the abbreviated expressions were exaggerated misspellings, a stock in trade of the humorists of the day. I also love something about the time in American history where people were referred to as humorists.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something so wholesome about that, and it's it's all that really dumb, witty stuff.
Yeah.
We're just like, you're an idiot, but you had to be kind of smart to think of that.
Yeah, but you had to be clever.
I've told you this before, but if there's ever a Jeopardy question about a humorist...
Yeah, you have
it's either Mark Twain or Will Rogers.
You have said this before.
If it's not obviously Mark Twain, guess Will Rogers. That's the correct answer. So one predecessor of OK was OW.
Ow.
For all right. OLLWRIGHT. That was the comical misspelling.
All right.
The general fad is speculated to have existed in spoken or informal written U.S. English for a decade or more before its appearance in newspapers.
Okay.
So it's already a thing, and the newspapers kind of came along, and it just was the first documented place we have of it. OK's original presentation as all correct was later varied with such spelling as all correct or even all correct. So I'll spell those. OLLKORECT or OLEKURRECK. So
is that a play on itself, like a joke in and of itself? That it's saying correct, but it's spelled incorrect?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of the thing is all right? Where it's like, that's all right. Oh, that's OW. And then it's just kind of an in-joke of if you know what OW means, you're all right. And so, that is one...
So kind of like a weird little goofy code.
Yeah.
Almost.
The term appeared to have achieved national prominence in 1840 when supporters of the Democratic political party claimed during the 1840 United States president election that it stood for Old Kinderhook, a nickname for then Democratic president and candidate for re-election Martin Van Buren, a native of Kinderhook, New York.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask where they came from. Okay.
Vote for OK was snappier than using his Dutch name. In response, Whig opponents attributed OK in the sense of all correct to Andrew Jackson's bad spelling.
Oh,
so they dunked and were like, you can't even spell all correct. That's probably Andrew Jackson up to no good.
So dunked on him.
The countrywide publicity surrounding the election appears to have been a critical event in OK's history, widely and suddenly popularizing across the United States. Reproposing the etymology of OK in Old Kinderhook in 1941. The evidence present in that article was somewhat sparse, and the connection to all correct is not fully elucidated. Various challenges to the etymology were presented, e.g. Heflin's 1962 article. However, Reed's landmark 1963-64 papers silenced most of the skepticism. Reed's etymology gained immediate acceptance and is now offered without reservation in most dictionaries. Reed himself was nevertheless open to evaluating alternative explanations. So he kind of opened the door again for being like, that's what I thought, but I might not be right.
Yeah, but this may not be it. It may be something completely different.
The second one.
Okay. Oh, God, so that was just the first one. Okay.
Choctaw. The folk singer Pete Seeger sang that OK was of Choctaw Indian origin, as the dictionaries at the time tended to agree. 3 major American reference works cited the Choctaw etymology as the probable origin until as late as 1961, which is around the time that the Reed article was produced.
Okay.
The earliest written evidence for the Choctaw word OK, O-K-E-H, is provided in work by the missionaries Cyrus Byington and Alfred Wright in 1825.
And do they know what that meant then?
These missionaries ended many sentences in their translation of the Bible with a particular OK, meaning it is so.
Huh.
OK was given an alternative spelling of OK, O-K-A-Y, in the 1913 Webster's. Byington's Dictionary of Choctaw Language confirms the ubiquity of the OK particle, and his I'm just saying it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's pronounced the same way. Mm-hmm. It's spelled O-K-E-H. I'm just saying it that way to make the differentiation, because this is spoken. And his grammar of the Choctaw language notes the particle "k" as an affirmative contradistinctive.
What?
With a distinctive O prefix. So that was part of the Choctaw language. They were saying "okay," basically. Subsequent Choctaw spelling books de-emphasized the spelling list in favor of the straight prose, and they made use of the particle, but they too never included it with the word list or discussed it directly. The presumption, so they never went out of their way to like define it.
Right.
The presumption was that the use of the particle oak or hoke was so common and self-evident as to preclude any need for explanation or discussion for either its Choctaw or non-Choctaw readership. So like, we don't need to explain what this is.
Yeah, you already know what it is. Yeah, you know what it is already. So I wonder if the hand signal may have come about because like there was a language barrier there. So instead of like explaining it to each other, it became a like, it's all good. We're all good here. Don't worry about it. Like, I wonder where the hand sign came in after that.
So there are a lot of theories about this. Those are two of the most prominent.
Okay.
I'm gonna need a second to find my favorite one.
Okay.
Because it is incredible.
So when you were saying Choctaw, it's embarrassing, but what that reminds me of is that Tim
Tim
McGraw
McGraw
had the song
of course.
Cherokee and Choctaw, because it's the only time that, like, as a kid, that's the first time I'd ever heard that. So what was that song called? And that's going to bother me now too.
Indian Outlaw.
Yes, that was probably pretty problematic, like, to listen to it now. Tim?
Probably Timothy.
Tim? God. Live like you're dying, Tim, but don't be a jerk about it.
Come on,
Is he still with Faith Hill? Yeah.
Is he still hilling that faith?
Whoop. Faith in that hill. Nope. I thought we had it. It slipped through my fingers. Like Tim McGraw's music career. Oh! I'm just kidding. I don't know. He's probably still successful. I have this thing where if I stop listening to an artist, they're no longer successful because I'm not listening to them. So I'm like, sucks to be you. And meanwhile, he's like selling out stadiums. I'm fine. Anyway.
So some people attribute the OK hand signal to, like I said, being the origin of OK. Right? Some people say that... So you're familiar with the OK Corral. Some people thought that the OK Corral wasn't the only, like, OK club. There's an OK club in, like, New York, I think. This is the one that people thought. So it was basically, and I'm paraphrasing here because I can't find, like, my direct source that I read this from because it was a long article. But they used it almost as a code. Okay. So it was sort of this, like, underground, like Boss Tweed type people, right? Would be part of this OK club.
So instead of saying it, they would use the...
So this is really interesting to me. So if, so let's say both you and I were members, right? Okay. And a third party entered the door. Oh. And I wanted to tell you that he was part of our club, but you didn't know. I would say, don't worry, he's okay. Oh. And so okay became an affirmative of that club.
You're a member of this club.
Right. He's fine. He's okay.
That's so cool. Yeah. Like, I like that a lot.
I think that is the coolest one. I have to say, the amount of work that went into the first one, the all correct, I think that one makes the most sense given the other trends of the time. Yeah. And I also love that Martin Van Buren popularized it. Yeah. There were some like signs and stuff using this hand gesture. So even then, that was tied to OK. So it's really interesting to me that something that we might not take, and I don't even really use OK as like a hand gesture that much, right? Yeah. No. Because now when I do the OK hand gesture, I think of the upside down one. Where it's like, make you look. I was just going to ask you. So I... Punched. Oh. Punched. I got punched.
You got punched. Yeah. You got.
I did. I looked at your hand. That was the bad one.
Did it again.
Oh, no. I looked again.
Double punch.
Wait, well, people are watching this podcast. What happens to them?
I'm going to come to your house. No. I'm going to punch every single one of you. I'm going to punch every single one of you right in your buns. I can't imagine, like, I don't think I've ever done OK. If anything, I've done, like, a thumbs up. Or, like, you got it.
I don't know. I feel like in, like, passing or in parting, like, hey, we're going here next. Okay. Like, I'm done like a, yeah, all right.
I would have used OK more sarcastically. Like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay. You know,
like... It's really interesting to me how language, and this being sign language, basically, how that evolves over time. Yeah. And I think that's a trend throughout all of these, which is like, you know, it started out as one thing, and then, like, with OK, we don't really know exactly how it started, but, you know, OK is in everyone's lexicon. Like I
Right.
think like kids know okay. Like
Yeah.
small toddlers like
Yeah.
okay. Like
Okay.
that's one of the
Yeah.
first words you learn. And
Yeah.
it's funny too that, and I mean this is just the nature of language, but I think it's fascinating. This is me kind of geeking out, but I think it's interesting that like okay, that tonal shift
Yeah.
means something completely different than okay.
Right.
And I always found that really interesting, and it's funny that that can translate to hand gestures too.
Yeah.
Where it's like the vitriol or the fun behind a hand gesture can completely change the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you like, you can sarcastically flip someone off,
Yeah.
or you can angrily flip someone off.
You can jokingly, like, lovingly flip someone off.
Yeah, like no,
Like, oh, come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, in the same way that you could tell, like, I'll tell Mary that I hate him. I'll be like, I hate you. You know? But, like,
and you do.
And I do.
But if you liked him,
with the fury of 1,000 suns. But if I liked him,
then
I would say it differently. I would use a different tone with him.
I just thought that was an interesting thing. I like the idea of doing topics that maybe I know one thing about and then get into the... Because I knew the okay story, and that's why I was going to try to just do that, but I didn't feel like that was substantial enough.
I think that helps, though, for sure, because you're kind of learning as you go, which makes it a little more, I don't want to say believable, but makes it easier to talk about it, because you have just learned this cool thing.
Educated.
Yeah, you've just learned this cool thing, and we can still talk through it. And so okay strikes me as weird, because we can write it as okay.
Yes.
Like the two letters, or O-K-A-Y, or some people do O period K period.
Yeah.
Or capitalized okay, or lowercase okay.
Yeah,
like
that's
all
true.
of these can be written in this way, and we read it in the same way every time.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. I like that a lot. I think that our verbal language and our, like you were saying, sign language, essentially, like, can mean so many different things.
And it's really interesting, too, to see this translated now into emojis.
Right.
So sort of the meaning of hand signals has come back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, no one would, at least when I was younger, no one would just leave a conversation by saying peace sign. Like, they'd say, like, all right, later, and then maybe throw up the peace sign.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't just, like, leave doing this.
Peace.
And so, but now you can leave a conversation, theoretically, by just chucking up the peace sign.
And that, too, can be something has a different tonal shift. So, like, somebody's being a jerk to you, just like, all right, peace.
Yeah,
I'm out.
That's true.
Like, I'm out. Like, a lot of people, specifically on Twitter, you'll see this, where people are like, get out of my mentions.
Yeah.
Bye. Like, and two peace signs.
I'm not a crook.
I'm not a crook.
I am not a crook.
Gels on that man.
He does have some gels.
He's deceased.
So, does he... Yeah, I guess.
He doesn't have them anymore.
I was going to say, does he
He's a
not have
skeleton
them
now.
anymore? He probably doesn't.
He's worm food now.
Liddy, where can people find you?
People can find me at twitch.tv/teamliddy. Where can they find you?
natgeo.com.
You thought about it. You're like, what's a funny place to say?
You can find me at imdb.com, where I have my one credit for, of course, being the gaffer on Airbud 2.
Airbud 2, furry, faster and furrier.
Bad Bud.
Bad Bud.
Bud's back.
Now we got Bad Bud. Bud's
Bud's back. Airbud 2. Return of the Bud.
Return of the Bud.
A blossoming bud. No.
Oh, so you were so close. You had
What's
a good one.
So what's the...
Air Buddies. Remember
Air
Air
Buddies
Buddies?
is a thing.
Remember that?
What's the...
I think that dog died.
What was the name of the 90s toy? It was like My Buddy something. Had a name.
The kid?
Yeah. It was like My Buddy... I don't remember his name.
It was like a child-sized doll.
Yeah.
That looked like a child, like an actual child.
Had to be the source information. I know Chucky probably predates it, actually.
It was called just like My
Buddy something, right?
I thought it was just My Buddy. I thought it was just My Buddy. Because you're supposed to name it. But you
My Buddy Bartholomew.
But like there was little children carrying around a doll their own size.
That's pretty awesome.
Carrying it around.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure I had one and I peed on it.
Showed your dominance. Mark the territory.
I did. My mom said that I didn't like it. Okay, well, I'm an only child, and when I was a little kid, I threatened to run away from home if my mom and dad had another kid.
Oh, nice.
had my little. They talked to me. They acted like they were going to get me a little brother or sister, and I packed my suitcase. And I put a pair of underwear and a pair of socks and a Barbie in it, and I closed it.
Yeah, all you need.
All you need in life.
Not regular clothes.
Ladies, all you need in life. I don't know where I was headed with that mentality,
Sure.
but I got halfway up the hill, and my mom went, "Get back here," and I was like, and I came running back. But
you'd forgotten why you left in the first place.
I didn't know why I left
How old
in
were
the
you?
first place. I was about 5.
Oh, independent woman.
I was so ready. I was going out on the town, my socks, my underwear, and my Barbie. I was ready. But anyway, I got it for my birthday, and I thought that it was getting more attention than me, and I peed on it. So, that's all you need to know about me and my...
You can find me at twitch.tv/dormstreams. I never really paid that one off.
You never really said, did you?
Or you can find us both on Twitter at
Team Lidi.
At Dormstreams.
Mm-hmm. Instagram.
At Team Lidi at Dormstreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dormstreams.co.
Mm-hmm. You're all over the place. That's
Click to learn more on YouTube.
We have a store now. We do.
Store. I'll make a little graphic for it.
We have a merch store now, designed by humans /
shop / Lidi and Dorm.
Lidi and Dorm.
I think that's right.
All you have to do is look for Lidi and Dorm on Designed by Humans.
That's
You'll find
true.
us.
Yeah,
you'll find us.
Or in either of our Twitch chats or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, if you enjoyed the video, give it a little like.
Ooh.
And maybe subscribe to the channel.
Smash that subscribe button.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up, YouTube?
Before we get into this video, don't forget to hit that like button and hit your
Smash that
notification
subscribe button.
Nah, if you liked it.
If you like it, just do it.
Let us know.
And
if you're on iTunes or something, maybe drop us a review. Maybe give us 5 stars. Maybe give us 1 star. I don't know.
Give us as many stars as we deserve. It's 5.
We deserve as many stars as you think we deserve.
We are stars. We're all made of stars. Oh, it wrapped up nicely. Look, I think you're important. Give us 5 stars.
Do you think there's a star hand signal? No.
Like the Star of David?
I'm trying to do one with my hands and it's not working.
You're going to end up doing something that's like...
I'm going to break... Oh, this looks a little bad. I'm going to break...
You're going to end up doing something that's problematic on accident. Your finger.
Oh, no. Did I say it like that?
Don't break your finger.
Did I say finger?
Don't break your finger, Norm. We never know how to end this. You gotta end it.
Yeah.
It's your show.
As always, watch where you click.
Why are you looking at me? You're supposed to tell them.
Hey, watch...
Until next time. Be careful where you click.
Who watches The Watchmen?
I do. I love that movie.
Be careful where you click.
Be careful where you click.